Welcome back. Welcome back. It's a Friday edition of Liquid Lunch. I'm John Tobacco. And so much division out there. I was talking to a good friend of mine last night, my buddy Mike Caruso, former Staten Island legendary guy. And, he's been a Republican. He's been a Democrat. He's been on all sides of things. We were friends since we were kids. Shout out to his dad, Papa Mike Caruso, one of my old football coaches who watches the show. And we were talking about how the whole country is so divided, and even though Mike and I don't have the same political views, we could have a conversation with each other. We could tell each other, I love you, man. I hope your family's good. And it doesn't have to get in the middle, but it seems more and more that both the left and the right want to draw a dividing line right down the middle, so it's a binary choice. You're either with us or you're against us. And our two political classes, the ruling classes, they don't want there to be a middle ground. They don't want there to be a middle class. They don't want people to have median views. They want everyone to be zealots, and it's scary. We demonstrate our intelligence here by having thoughtful conversation every day with a Democrat and a Republican. We throw out the topics, we mix it up, we have some fun. And the one rule is that we're all friends. At the end, we shake hands. And sometimes we even agree. The best that we got joins us today. It's John Burnett, Managing Director, One Empire Group, former candidate for New York City Comptroller, and David Eisenbach, Columbia professor, presidential historian, and former candidate on the Democrat side here for New York City Public Advocate. Guys, welcome. Happy Friday. I hope all is well. Johnny, I want to go to you first. 39 million jobs lost. This pandemic has done what the Democrats couldn't do for 3 years, really put a chink in Trump's economic plans that were the big part of his campaign. All right. Johnny, you got to turn your mic on. Is David there?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Well, this is definitely a bipartisan problem. And if you look at what we have passed, the legislation passed, PPP, it's clearly failed to stop the bleeding. We're now at 15% unemployment. That's going to be rising. Contrast that with, let's say, Germany, that has 4% unemployment. And the way that the Germans do it is they use state money, taxpayer money, to subsidize corporations and businesses so that it's a partnership to keep people in their jobs. What Nancy Pelosi has done with the CARES Act and with the HEROES Act is to expand unemployment payouts rather than try to keep people in their jobs. Now, the reason why I'm so critical of Nancy Pelosi is I don't expect better from the Republicans. I expect better from the Democrats. The Democrats have failed working Americans once again.
Yeah, JB, I hope we can hear you now, but it sure seems like we're using all kinds of government money. Even the PPP, to me, was reverse unemployment. They're paying you to not disemploy your people. Why can't we hear JB's audio?
I'm trying to get him to join with audio.
Okay, JB, we're having a problem with your audio. You got to join with the computer audio. David, I would think that you would be in support of a lot of these government stimulus plans. But, I was talking to a good friend of mine just this morning who said, I got a lot of people in my business that make between 40 and 50 grand, and they're actually making more at home getting unemployment. So these programs, the kids are like, yeah, hey, I'll come back if you want, but I'm good. You know what I mean? I'm making $1,000 a week when they were taking home $640.
I spoke to a friend of mine who owns a restaurant in Manhattan. He said that his employees are making more not working now than working. They're not coming back. That means that it's going to be that much harder for him to get started again. As a result of our focus, Nancy Pelosi, this was all her, right? Making sure that the unemployment checks that go out are even greater than before. So instead of making sure that people kept their jobs and helping small businesses and large-sized businesses keep people in their work, right? So that they don't have to go and rehire and retrain after all this is over, right? It's just handing out money that's going to make it that much harder to get started again.
All right. Do we have JB finally? I hear him.
I don't hear him. Do you hear him?
John? No, he's not. Nico's going to give you a call. Dave, we're going to have to sling this one, me and you, and then we'll get him on the commercial break because Burnett, he's probably doing more TV than anybody, but for some reason we can't get his audio on.
And he probably has a nicer computer, too.
Yeah. And by the way, you're still rocking the Met hat, I see. So you at least
his hair isn't getting any shorter.
At least you're representing, thank God. But they're saying that, Dave, they're saying that they may be close to a plan to get baseball going again. You think that's another step and at least people feeling a little better, like, okay, I can watch a ball game?
Believe me, give us something, right? That's not this coronavirus business. Give us something to think about, to talk about, to feel like we're getting back to normalcy. I think that's going to have a tremendous psychological effect. And getting over the psychological trauma of this thing is going to be harder than people think to get out and start spending money again.
No doubt. And Dave, you know, I'm not the biggest Bible thumper out there, but I am, you know, a man of faith. I believe in a higher power, right? But one thing that I can't understand is this. Why can't houses of worship be open with some, 25%, occupancy or something like that? Why could we all walk around in a Walmart or a Target or something, but we can't sit 6 feet away from each other in a house of worship? And I'm not saying Catholic, I'm saying any, Muslim, Jewish, people should be able to observe their faith.
The first step towards that is to have outdoor religious services. It seems quite clear from the data that it's when you're inside in enclosed spaces with people, that's when the contagion happens. But if you're outdoors, it doesn't happen. So having religious services in parks, I think, would be a fantastic thing.
Yeah, I think, people tend to feel stronger when they're reunited with their community. Your church congregation, your mosque, your synagogue, that's where your kind of the nucleus of your community is. And people want to see each other again, even if it's from over there. Like, all right, well, these little things. And the other thing I'm going crazy about here in Staten Island, New York, and I got a bunch of people that we've been grouping together is kids have been locked in the house for over 2 months, right? No school, no outdoor activities, no nothing. I cannot find a politician who will answer the question. A baseball field is about 100,000 square feet. Why can't we have 13 kids on the field to play a ball game? Just let the parents of the problem. Let them sit in the car. Why can't kids play ball? I think if they let kids play ball and people go back to church, we'd be a third of the way there to trying to reconnect communities.
Look, we're going to have to make this transition eventually. The idea that we're just going to have this vaccine, we're going to have to wait to this vaccine that might not come for another year. We got to get back to some sort of sense of normalcy. Looking at it statistically, right? The average age of the deaths of people from coronavirus is older than the average age of death under normal circumstances. This is a disease that vastly disproportionately affects the old. We can get the young with social distancing, but out in the parks, out there with the fresh air. And I think that would be very, very helpful.
Yeah, I think here in New York, like 85% of the COVID deaths were over 75.
Yeah.
I think I hear Burnett. Do I hear him?
Yeah.
Hey, JB.
Hey, man. That's the problem when you're working from home. We're an IT guy.
Well, listen, we got a minute left in this segment, but we're doing two with you guys. What do you think about all these job losses here? How does Trump recover from this?
The thing is that he has to work. Well, the governors have to work with his administration, right? In terms of opening up. Look, we're a nation that lived under the threat of the atom bomb. And we're struggling now with trying to figure out how to cope with a virus. That's the difference between the old and the new. We have to open up. We're a strong nation. We have workers. The heart of America is small business and the might of our labor force. And they want to get back to work for the most part, right? But we have local, cities and states under the elected leaders that are prohibiting them from getting back to work, and that's a disgrace. We have to get back to work, and we have to work with the administration, put politics aside, and say, you know what? Let's make America strong again by actually getting back to work.
All right, we're going to leave it there. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about mail-in voting grievances and the emerging Mike Pompeo dog walking scandal. We're going to take a quick break. More Liquid Lunch right after this.